Oh,
Like they say in the books and on the streets, it's that day of the
it
week. So that's what Yada Bear is supposed to say.
it must be Tuesday. Must be Tuesday.
And that it is. That is what's talk in your face and in your eye. Listen, man. I haven't really been hyped and charged about doing the show like I am for tonight, because I think we're going. The football season started. Everybody, the juices are flowing. Baseball season in the stretch run, pennant races, and all of that. It's fight week, right? Terence Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez, right? A lot of things going on. I want to get Yada Bear's opinion on why a certain WNBA player only sold 250 pairs of her shoe. We're gonna get into a whole bunch of that. Yada Bear's in the building, of course, as usual, right? Yada
Hey,
Bear's in the house, and you know what we do when Yada Bear's in the house, right? When Yada Bear's in the house, we always gotta give Yada Bear her respect, aka high ceilings, aka rain, sleet, snow, hail, all of that. Yada Bear's in the building, holding us down like she's been doing for the last 3 summers. Yada Bear, ladies and gentlemen.
what's going on? What's going on, folks? Um, interesting weekend. The NFL started. We started out Thursday. I have to say, each primetime game has been very interesting. Has been really good. Ending in weird ways. A lot of crazy plays. Some of your most memorable moments already in week one in these primetime games. Sunday didn't disappoint. We see some people emerge to their opportunity, and we see some guys just submerge their opportunity and just look like straight garbage out on the field. Um, but all in all, it was a great football weekend. College was great. Couple of games that we had picked, and um, salute to Oklahoma. I mean, I saw that coming a
Yeah.
mile away. I didn't believe in the freshman quarterback going into that hostile environment. Oklahoma's big time school. Um, it's hard to win there, especially when they have a pretty decent team. Oklahoma defense, really was had a really good game, and their offense was fantastic. We saw a couple other teams that paid to lose. Paid quite a bit. Like 500,000 to be embarrassed on national TV to a unranked team. We had high hopes for this team. Last week it was a lot of looking up to Florida. And Florida said, "Nah, we're just gonna go back to how we was." A non-factor. So that was quite surprising, and seeing Texas come out with the victory, but I wasn't really impressed with Archman, and now we had this controversy. Like, is he hurt? Is he not hurt? Was he wincing? Is he in pain? And you know, um, Sharkeezy, he wasn't giving any information. He was being really tight-lipped about it and not wanting to answer any question. He kind of looked like he was frustrated when one of the reporters was asking him about it. Um, so that was crazy. Um, Colorado, got a victory. They played all three of their quarterbacks, which was wild to me. It was like they was having a quarterback competition during the game. So it's always entertaining in Colorado. So we'll see how that ends up for them on Saturday. Then Ohio State playing Grambling. That was a weird game to me. I never expected to see Ohio State playing. playing Grambling. You know, they they destroyed them. Like 70-0. But I will say we got to see a very entertaining halftime show. Got to see the Grambling marching band. They never disappoint having them on. A big stage like that. That was really cool to see. It was really good to see that Ohio State, really gave them a chance to perform out there. Um, so that was cool. Penn State went out there, did their thing. Who else? Oregon. Basically all big time schools. Did their thing. The he was waiting for left to come back. Like we had some technical difficulties down there, but I mean we can kind of talk about the rankings until he gets back. Um, the AP got Ohio State 1, Penn State 2, LSU 3, Oregon 4, Miami 5, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Illinois, Florida State, South Carolina, and Clemson. So that's what their top 12 is looking like. Do I agree with it? I agree with
Sorry
some
about
of
that.
it. Welcome
Where you
back.
at,
Welcome back.
Boston?
Just talking about some of the college games. I was talking about um, the Ohio State and Grambling. I was saying I never thought that I would see Grambling, playing Ohio State.
They pay for the privilege.
Yeah, like I'll say this. It was dope to see that. I really enjoyed the marching band, the halftime show. For them
Yo, you
for
see how the
Grambling
Ohio
marching band.
State marching band was looking at Grambling marching band? They was like,
Yeah,
this is how, yeah, this is how we wish we
this
rock like this.
this is
Right,
how we wish we could rock. But also,
right.
I gotta commend them for giving them the spotlight to shine. Right
True,
there, like let them
true,
do their thing on
very
their
true.
field. I just thought that was dope because it's not rare that we get to see those marching bands. Those Gramblings, um, the A&Ts, and those schools like that. That's really famous for like their marching band. So for Ohio State to take a little step back and say, hey, you guys shine. That was cool. I'm wondering how much Ohio State paid Grambling, to play, if you want to call it playing. I mean, 70-0. That was definitely crazy, margin to win by. But I thought it was pretty cool. How you think about this this ranking they put out there?
I mean, you really can't say too much about it because it's just week two. But the teams that should be there are still there. Again, like we said, Browski, this is going to be a all season thing. You know what I mean? You may see two or three different number one teams. Um, and again, that's why for me, when I put my rankings out, I look at it like if you lose at this point in the game, you got to go to the back of the line. Because again,
Yes,
it's other teams that you may look like you might beat on paper, but that's what they said about South Florida and Florida.
correct.
They ready to fire their coach already down in Florida.
It
And this was
is
supposed to be,
only week two.
yeah, and Dabo Sweeney looking at them like, whoo,
Yeah, exactly,
you
because
know what I
guess
mean?
what, my man, your name, like, they should be looking at you, especially from how you was, bigging up your team in the off season. So for them to be coming at Florida like that, second week, it is wild. I can understand because Florida has not been the best these past couple of years. They looked like they had high hopes in week one. It was like, oh crap, look at Florida. Like Florida, got something going on. And then you turn around week two, You get an unranked team coming there and you lose. You know,
And on top of that, Florida State is taking everybody's shine.
Florida State definitely, that definitely is, and I think that the coaches poll and the AP poll, they're both kind of disrespecting Florida State. You know, when I look at the
Nah, they don't.
rankings,
They don't. They don't trust them yet. That's all that
yeah,
is.
I mean the AP got them at 10, and the college poll got them at 12, and I'm like, that's a little too low for me.
Mm.
Like 10 and
I
12,
mean,
it's low when you look at who's above them. You know, the
so the
wins they
teams that
got.
are above Florida State, do you think? So you're saying Florida State could beat them?
Yeah, I think Florida State can beat Texas.
Woo!
Yeah, I don't trust Arch Manning, and I don't trust Texas
Send your
defense.
emails, Dabrowski.
Yeah, please do, because
Send your
everybody
emails,
jumped out the
Dabrowski.
window. See, this is another case of jumping out the window, um, because everybody was ready to hand Arch the Heisman Trophy
Right.
before the season started, and when he went up against Ohio State, he looked very shook, you know, scared, don't know what to do. And then when you look at the play calling, it's like you the way Shark was calling the game, like he don't trust him. You know, he supposed to be this athletic, very mobile quarterback, but against Ohio State, you barely let this man move. You made him a statue in the pocket. You know, and last week, well, look at the competition. You know, and it still wasn't like amazing. He's making all these amazing throws, and then come to find out, you know, we don't know if he's hurt, if he's not hurt. Is he wincing in pain? Why is it like everybody got him underneath this microscope again? Everybody's doctors and trying to diagnose them, trying to see if this guy is hurt, and we're not getting information from the coach. Like I was saying earlier, I feel like Shark was even annoyed that the reporter was even questioning him about Manning's health. Like I felt like he was taken aback and was offended. Like, why are you asking me these personal questions? Let's talk about the game. Like, why are you asking about him? You know.
Right.
So I don't know. I just don't trust. I don't trust Texas. Um, I can't trust a team that was the number one overall in the ranking be an underdog in the opener. Where they do that at?
I mean, again, Texas, was a suspect number one to begin with. I think, you know what I mean. Again, they didn't want to rank, Ohio State number two because they didn't want to open the season off with a 1-2 blockbuster thing. But they bigged it up with a 1-3, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State just simply handled their business. Now, for
Yes.
me, when I talk about my rankings, and I don't have Texas in there, it's because Texas lost the game that they were supposed to win, and now they're going to have a bunch of cream puffs. Arch
Yes.
Manning's going to throw for 400 yards, 300 yards, and Arch Manning is back. No, I'm not there yet.
No.
So when I talk about my 12, Browski, it's the usual suspects: Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, Miami at number 4, LSU at number 5, Oregon at number 6, Florida State at number 7. Look at me. I say I show them some love.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have Florida State at number 7, right? South Carolina
Mhm.
at 8. Notre Dame still in that 9, even though they got a loss. Illinois is at 10, because I still think Notre Dame is better than Illinois, South Florida, and Oklahoma. I think so. Even though
Okay.
they're digging up now Oklahoma's quarterback, that kid is nice. You know what I mean? But I'm not jumping out the window yet. Brett Venables
Yeah.
having a decent season doing what he does, but that's why I got Oklahoma in the top 12. And my 13th team is Iowa State.
Okay. All right.
The reason why,
So.
I mean, because again, their record is 3-0. They played the early game in
Mhm.
Ireland. All right. And again, they're repping, they're doing their thing in the Big 12. So, but I still have them on the outside looking in as far as week 2 is concerned.
I,
And,
our list is pretty similar.
uh-huh.
Um, I got Ohio State, Penn State. I got LSU at 3,
Mm-hmm.
Miami at 4, Georgia at 5, Oregon at 6, Florida State at 7, South Carolina at 8, Oklahoma at 9, Notre Dame at 10, Illinois at 11, South Florida at 12, Iowa State at 13.
Oh, so it's pretty
Uh,
much, pretty much
Pretty
the
much
same.
the
So
same.
again,
Yeah.
it's gonna fluctuate throughout the season.
Oh, of
Where do you
course.
think where do you think a team like Florida State, I mean it's we're looking at weeks and down the line. Do you think Florida State is the best team in Florida out of Miami, Florida State, and Florida, and South Florida? Now we got to put them in the mix.
Um, I think I think it's neck and neck between them and Miami.
Mm,
Um,
blasphemy,
I think it's neck and
blasphemy.
neck.
That is.
I give Miami the slight edge, but I think Florida's
More
right there with
blasphemy.
them. I feel like if Florida State and Miami play right now in the neutral field, it'd be like I think it'd be like a 3 point game. Somebody will win by 3 last minute
Ladies and
field goal.
gentlemen, Browski has read out. She's blasphemed once, blasphemy twice, blasphemy
And
three times.
I
But hey,
just
listen, I mean, I gotta put, I listen. Me and you definitely have the same kind of outlook because we both have Florida State at 7, right?
yeah.
So again, we're putting some kind of respect on Florida State's name, and not putting that same respect on a team like a what, Browski, a Texas that lost, a Clemson that lost. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. Yeah.
so we showing love, even though some people might not show that same amount of love to the Florida State Seminoles. Even some of their biggest or most ardent fans, I'll just say their initials, FBJ. He's on strike this
I
season.
mean,
I spoke to the homie. He said he's taking it light. I tried to reach out to him
yeah.
after they beat Alabama, and he was like, no show, no call. I said, all right. He's gonna stick to his word. He ain't gonna jump out the window and be on the bandwagon. But he said, yo, he's not effing with Florida State this year. I said, okay.
Well, I mean, like I said, the Alabama win was good, and then we'll see. I mean, they'll play Miami in a couple of weeks, so we'll definitely see.
And that's where the bubble gum was.
Yeah, we'll definitely see where they be at. Soon enough. You know,
Yeah. I
if they
mean,
the
right. I mean,
if they're the real deal or not. It's only
I mean,
week two.
yeah. I mean, again, it's
Anything
only
can
week 2,
change. I
so we
mean,
just
they
kind of
have
like
to
filling the
show.
space right now. So you know what we're
Yeah,
gonna
they,
do?
they gotta show up for these next 2 games. I mean, they gotta. You telling me you put 77 points up against Eastern Texas A&M
That's
when
what
you
you're
play?
supposed to do.
Yeah, when you play Kent
You
State
should
this
have put up
week.
107.
Yeah, when like I said, when you play Kent State, you better put up just as much points. You can't just be. You can't be flip flopping. Like you can't put up 77 and then go and put up 21 points against Kent State. Like that would be
And,
wild.
and, and again, this is that's why we have these these week 2 games where you can like get your lick back. You know what I mean? Like you lose in week 1, and now you play Little Sisters of the Poor in week 2, and you beat them 77-3, and now you're supposed to be back to where you started from. I'm not really with that. So with that being said, Yada Bear send all the Arch Manning people, all the Texas Longhorns, and Matthew McConaughey and all that. Send your emails that way, right? So this is how we give it. We go into the NFL because I know Browski wants to talk about. She wants to spit the knowledge. she wants she wants to spit the knowledge, son. You know what I mean? Let's go. Excuse me, the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Talk
Yeah,
to
thank
Isbowski.
you. Thank you for that interesting introduction. Um, as it was an interesting start to the 2025, the 2025 NFL season with the Philadelphia Eagles, we started out the game with a season-ending injury to our
Right.
fullback slash linebacker, to our best defensive player um, getting ejected before anyone took a snap. The spit heard around the world.
Right.
Jalen Carter spitting on Dak Prescott. Um, it was extremely disappointing. It was extremely shocking when we was watching it. I'm sitting here and I'm looking. I'm like, wait a minute. I said, I know he just didn't get kicked out the game. I said, this can't be. I said, this cannot happen. I said, we got a man getting carted off the field, and then we got another man spitting on another man, and then getting kicked out the game before the game even started.
You got carted off
So,
the field. One got kicked off the field. Crazy.
yeah. So I
Before
mean,
the kickoff,
we saw
right?
when. No, it was after the kickoff. It was right after
Oh, okay.
kickoff. It
After.
was right before Dallas making their way to the field. I mean, we all saw what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's all on Jalen Carter's back until the video footage shows Dak baiting him, because that's what he was doing. He was baiting him in. Jalen Carter was, you know, super emotional, hypersensitive, took the bait and spit on this man like he was nothing. And we all say, Dak is trash, blah, blah, blah. We all throw shade at the Cowboys because that's what we do, because they are our arch rivals. But I do not condone anybody spitting on anybody in any way, fashion. That's like one of the worst things you could do to a person, one of the most disrespectful things that to ever, happen to you. And for him to do that on national TV, it blew my mind. I was in, like I said, utter shock. I couldn't believe it. I said, what a, in my head, I said, what are we doing? I said, so this is how we're going to start the season. This is how we're going to defend this championship, by spitting on Dak on first the first play, right before the first play. I said, all right. So after we got over that, the whole game plan changed. Um, the first half, it was nothing but scoring back and forth. They drive down the field, we drive down the field. Um, there was a lot of talk about, oh, AJ ain't getting no targets, Devontae was getting no targets. I look at it as Jalen was taking what the defense was giving him. They had a good rush going on, and they was basically doubling AJ the whole game. He was never really in single coverage at all. The same thing with Devontae. It was a lot of shattering. So I would rather, him throw check down balls or run instead of forcing the ball in double coverage, making an error throw, um, getting picked off, just not playing, really clean football. And we still got the victory. Was it a pretty win? No. All wins are not pretty as long as we get the win. And what people don't want to talk about is the fact that we shut the Cowboys down in the second half. They scored 0 points in the second half. They couldn't do anything in the second half. And yes, CD Lamb did help with his butterfingers, because as many times as y'all Dallas Cowboy fans or Eagles haters always want to come at me and saying how great of a receiver CD Lamb is, he's our top five receivers. Well, what happened to him? Anytime that there's uh, the game is on the line or in a pressure situation, these guys find a way to come up short. The Cowboys will cowboy. What do you think?
Well, outside of the spitting incident, which things happen, um, I feel like the Eagles and the Cowboys play the Eagles and Cowboys game, right? Um, you know, I think that once you get out of the celebratory mood and get down to business, the Eagles did just that. I think that once again Jalen Hurts show why he is, shouldn't have been a top 9 quarterback in the league. He's better than a lot of these guys, and he proved that. Saquon Barkley, that he was trying, ready to pick up where he left off from last year. Again, I was wondering why, the Eagles didn't go to AJ Brown a lot. I mean, really didn't have to. You know what I mean? With the way they were moving the ball, they were doing their thing. But that, being said, the Eagles, defended their, Super Bowl, situation or whatever, and now they want to know. Let's move to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers right quick before we go around the league. Opening up in Atlanta, I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this thing, But the Atlanta Falcons are a good young football team. They just gotta find their way. Watching this game, it was the same Tampa Bay Buccaneers that I've been watching for the last 50 plus years, and this being the 50th anniversary season, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Um, Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Of course, we went down early, right? And again, Atlanta has some young guys. Michael Penix at quarterback, B. John Robinson, Drake London. Kyle Pitts even showed up. So again, the game went down to the wire, and the Atlanta Falcons had a chance to tie the game, and they have a young kicker, young Hey Cole, and he's usually on point. He's like one of the low key. He's one of the top kickers in the league. But this one it didn't go his way. He went wide right, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers escaped with a 23-20 victory in Atlanta. And I'm going to say escaped, and I'm going to use that in the strongest words possible because it was a game that we were lucky to get away with. Um, did we deserve to win? I'm not really sure. But we got the W, and that, like Browski said, it's all that matters is you get the win. So we got the win. Um, some things that I was impressed with in week one. Justin Herbert, finally, and because like I said, I said what I said in the NFL preview with my chest. I don't feel like the Kansas City Chiefs have that dominance over the league, but let's funnel it down to the division. The AFC West is going to be a beast,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And
yes, it
and the
is.
Los Angeles Chargers and Harbaugh, he's going to bring that rah rah. You know what I mean? Those guys are going to hear him out. They're going to get rejuvenated, and they proved it. By winning that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, are the Chiefs the same Chiefs from 3 or 4 years ago? Nah, not at all. I still might
Yeah.
think, and I watch this. I still might think they might be suffering some after effects of that thrashing that they got in the Super Bowl.
Um, I would
That's just
agree.
me.
I will also say that we kind of laid down the blueprint of how to play this Chiefs team. Um, yeah,
That was Tampa
yeah,
Bay. Thank you very much.
nah,
That was Tom
not
Brady.
at
That
all.
was Tom Brady and them. Thank you very much. That was
Not at
Tom.
all, because guess what?
That was
Because what
Tom
did they
Brady and
do?
them. Thank
What
you
did
very
they do
much.
the following year? They
Huh?
won again. They
Yeah,
won
I mean,
again.
it is what it is. But
But
I
I'm
mean,
just
at the end of
saying.
the day,
I'm just
they
saying because the way that the Chargers played them on Friday, it was like super aggressive, kept
yes.
coming at them.
Yep. You kept
Don't
waiting for the
take
roof to
it was
cave in
them.
for the Chargers, and it never
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Right.
They kept the pedal to the metal. The pressure was again. The Chiefs' offensive line is not as buttoned up as people think they are,
Peace to
and
Anthony from the
also
UK. Salute.
and then also Travis Kelsey running into Xavier Worthy didn't help at all. Now he
Yeah.
had a dislocated shoulder, and now they're gonna be missing him next week, along with Rashid Rice, who's still
Still on
he's
suspension, right?
suspended. Yeah, so they're coming in a little banged up. Um, I while we in the AFC West, we could talk about the Broncos. A lot of people was real high up on the Broncos. They won the game, but it wasn't like a real dominating effort. Bo Nix did not look really
Right.
good. He
That's
didn't he
okay.
didn't look real sharp,
That's okay.
Again, it's only week one, But I have to go off of what people have been telling me, about these certain quote unquote top five, top 10 quarterbacks who have done nothing, you know? And you're telling me that a guy in Bo Nix is, the future, or he's already arrived. Like he just got here. How has he arrived already? And what I
Well, I
saw
mean, in his rookie
was
year, he did go to the playoffs.
I get it, but what happened when he's in the playoffs? He
I
looked like a
mean, it
rook.
happens.
I
Things
mean,
happen.
it happened, yeah, but he hasn't arrived yet. Now, when we talk about no other quarterbacks that we thought have arrived but still look a little shaky, um, C.J. Strauss, very disappointed. Very disappointed. I did not expect to see him come out like that. The regression. Is it the fact that Joe Mixon isn't there? He looked really good with Joe Mixon on the field. With Joe Mixon not there, it looks a little different. I mean, they got Nick Chubb there, but it's not that same Nick Chubb. He's a little older, a little bit of injuries slowed him down. Um, but a quarterback that we can talk about that looked amazing, um, Daniel Jones
Yeah, man.
with Indy.
And
I
I'm
mean,
gonna get a Lebrowski talk on that one. She bigged up Daniel Jones.
I
She
mean,
liked
I,
Daniel
I, I
Jones.
called it from the beginning. I said, you know what?
Yep.
We can't believe what the New York Giants tell us. We can't believe these New York football teams because they tell us one thing and then what we see is something totally different. The Giants made us believe that Daniel Jones was trash. He made us believe that a guy by
Daniel
the name
Jones
of
made
Tommy.
us believe that he was trash.
Listen, they made us believe that a guy named Tommy DeVito was better than Daniel Jones and should be starting for the for the New York Football Giants, and this guy's not even in the league again. So now he
Yep.
gets a chance. He went to Indy, beat out their starting quarterback, and Anthony Richardson beat
And
him
look
out
good doing it.
and looked amazing doing it, and then come out in the first game of the season and put on a clinic. I mean, he
Absolutely. Salute
scored.
Daniel Jones.
He, he,
Absolutely.
he scored a damn near every possession almost. It was crazy. So what do we know?
Right. I mean, again, you can never tell. Sometimes the situation might not be the most conducive for a person. Maybe Daniel Jones in New York, maybe might have been a little bit overwhelming. He goes to Indianapolis, where it's kind of like a little bit more laid back, maybe more to his liking and things of that nature. He's more comfortable and he can do what he does. Um, for me, I looked at a game like the Lions and the Packers game. I didn't put no respect on the Green Bay Packers because I felt like the Lions and the Vikings had something to prove. But it just goes to show you how one person can kind of like turn a whole situation around. The Green Bay Packers are looking very, very mean right now. And I'm not going to say that they're going to, house everything and win 17 games and all that. I just think that the Green Bay Packers are looking like a team that should be reckoned with, right? That NFC North is after one game, not jumping out the window. Again, it's after one game, but the NFC North is going to be a three-team race. I watched the Vikings and the Bears last night. I was very impressed with Caleb Williams. He definitely looked like he talked to somebody, and somebody got at him and said, "Yo, play your game." The kid Rome Adunze, they're going to turn each other into stars. You know what I mean? DeAndre Swift does what he does. But watching that game last night, Browski, real quick, because Minnesota was going to get me over the hump in the down in sports, um, picks, NFL picks. I had 12, and I needed Minnesota to give me 13. I was not worried. As well as the Bears were playing, the Vikings were in the game. I like J.J. McCarthy. That was his first game. I like JJ McCarthy, right? I just think that again, the season's not going to be. It's it's one game. I mean, we just we just analyze it after one game. But I like what I saw out of JJ McCarthy. I like what I
Oh,
saw out the Chicago Bears. But I just think
um,
that go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I
um,
like what I saw out the Bears.
I
They
mean,
just got to learn how not to give games up. The mistakes, the false
I would
starts.
have
How you still doing false starts?
like, all right. I'm not gonna jump all the way out the window and go super left on the Bears. I like some of the things that I've seen with the Bears, but I didn't like a lot of what I saw out of Caleb Williams. You know, again, like you said, the false starts, not um, he missed a lot of throws, a lot of throws. Um, it wasn't that he was getting like a lot of pressure all the time. He, missed some guys, overthrew, underthrown. Like it was he had a okay game. Now JJ, he was terrible for the first 3 quarters, and I understand that because this is his
Hmm.
first official NFL game. He didn't really play much in the preseason this year, so I expect him to look like a rookie. But in the fourth quarter, when the lights are brighter, game is on the line. He made the throws. He made the plays. He took the he took the game and he won it. He did what I expected Caleb Williams to do. He took control of the game and said, "I'm going to win this game." To me, JJ looked like what we expect Caleb to look at year 2. And I get it. It's his first season, new coach, but also we look at JJ. This is his rookie season right here. Um, I just expect a little bit more out of Caleb. I am excited to see more from JJ. Um, the Vikings look like they didn't lose a beat. Switching quarterbacks. Um, still same run oil machine. Um, I do say that the Packers did look better than expected. Um, I the defense looked good. Micah fit in with those guys. He made some good plays. Jordan Love looked good. Um, the offense was rolling. Defense was rolling. That game to me was more about the Lions and how important coordinators are, especially offensive coordinators. To me, offensive coordinators are like the second most important piece of the team. Head coach, offensive coordinator. And without their offensive coordinator, the offense was very stale, very vanilla. Jared Goff looked super out of rhythm. It's Amon St. Brown, Gibbs, everybody looked out of sorts. Um, I think it's going to be tough season for Detroit. They're gonna have to adjust to the new play style, and they're gonna have to adjust to the fact that now the Packers are better, now the Vikings are better, and the Bears are also better.
The Bears
So
are going to be more competitive, right? Hmm.
yeah, so I think this, is not going to be straightforward. Oh, this is Detroit conference. I think it's going to
Right.
be a dogfight between all 3 of these teams because all 3 of them are extremely talented. I'll give Green Bay the slight edge because it's still week 1 and I still need to see more from JJ McCarthy. I need to see him more consistent throughout the whole game and not
That's what's up.
just, coming from behind. I want to see him, get a lead, maintain the lead, and, just see how the rest of the season go. So,
No doubt. Um, we're going to talk about a couple of games, and then we're going to move on. Um, Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. Um, I, listen, Lamar Jackson is my guy, right? Um, I didn't want to blame him. I didn't want to blame him for last year when Mark Andrews dropped the pass that could have, helped him out. But everybody talked about how the Ravens defense was supposed to be so great. They blew that game, and I'm looking at Lamar Jackson. I'm looking at Harbaugh. I'm looking at, I'm looking at Derrick Henry with the big fumble after busting off a 40 and a 30, right? So I'm looking at the Baltimore Ravens, and I told somebody today, because I'm loose like that. They were like, "Why are the Baltimore Ravens always going through some nonsense, right? Can't win the big one." I said, "Well, the Baltimore Ravens are the old Cleveland Browns." And he was like, No, Google it. The Baltimore Ravens are the old Cleveland Browns." But that's neither here nor there, because the Ravens do have a Super Bowl, right? And and I was talking to him. I said, what Super Bowl that was, right? Is the one where the lights went out, Colin Kaepernick, and all that. But anyway, the Ravens blew another game. Week one, Browski. This is not like the baseball season. Opening day, you still got 161 more games. This one, they're going to talk about this one like they talked about the last year one. But last year, they had the game in their hands and they got dropped. This year, they just blew it. With 4 minutes left, and you're supposed to be a upper echelon team. Talking about the Kansas Cities of the world, right? The Eagles of the world. Oh, you got to put the Ravens in there, Lamar Jackson, and blah, 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 Derrick Henry, blah, 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 blah. It's hard for me to even kind of manifest some kind of we are the world, kumbaya. No, I'm not here for that. You was giving the Buffalo Bills the business. A team that really nobody really, really respects, but everybody puts a lot of juice in because Josh Allen and all of this. I can never respect the Buffalo Bills. Why? Because they went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row and lost four. No. That you talk about sports records? Let's see somebody try to get that one, right? But the Baltimore Ravens, man, to me, Braskin, I want to hear your opinion on this. To me, they fell off after week one. They fell off. What's your thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens? Specifically
Um,
that game against Buffalo.
yeah, that game was crazy. It's crazy to have a running back go for 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, and you lose the game. You got two receivers, just
Mm-hmm.
about over 100 yards in receiving yards, touchdown, still lose the game. Um, let's talk about their defense. Again, they got everybody. Everybody, on paper, they are amazing defense. How can you be amazing? You give up 41 points.
Right.
And guess what? Same with Buffalo. How are you such a great defense and you gave up 40 points? To me, the Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens are the same team. When you really think about it, they are the same team. Good quarterback, great quarterback, mobile, strong arm, athletic, put the ball in their hands, they'll win you the game. Strong running game, power running game with running back. Two really good tight ends, receiving tight ends. You have okay receivers, not superstar receivers, but okay. Keon Coleman, he's getting there. He's
Yeah, right,
okay.
right, right, right,
You
right, right,
got
right,
Zay
right.
Flowers. He's okay. He's not a superstar. You not saying he want to break all of these records and anything like that. They have very similar teams. And when they play each other, it's like they're playing each other. They're playing a mirror of themselves. And that's why each of these games are one, always super close, two, always has some weird element to it. and three
Uh-huh.
always go down
Right.
to like the last minute, you know?
Right.
So it don't matter if it's regular season or in the playoffs, we know that this game is going to end in some type of
Some
dramatic
kind of crazy
fashion.
way. Right.
Drop pass.
Anthony Anthony in the chat room says that Baltimore may be a surprise package this season after the defeat. I could see them going on a losing streak. Hey man, listen.
Oh, I won't be
Cleveland at
surprised.
home, Detroit at home, at Kansas City, Houston,
Yeah.
and then the Rams before they go on their bye on October
Yeah.
19th. So yeah, I can see it. I can
Yeah,
see it.
they
Salute.
definitely could be on the downward spiral. This could be one of the years where we're looking at the standards and we see Baltimore fighting for second place,
Mm.
and third place fighting for second,
With Cincinnati.
exactly.
Can't
So
forget about the
we,
Bengals. Yep, that's
yeah,
right.
so
Absolutely.
we don't know what's going to go on, and then we have to start looking at John Harbaugh. It's like you've been there for so long. You've been there for so long. It's like again the Mike Tomlin effect. The only difference is that you are making it to the playoffs, but you just can't get over the hump. You got this quarterback that keep winning MVPs, but he's not winning a Super Bowl MVP. He's not going to the AFC Championship. He's not
You really ain't winning
taking
no
the
playoff
next step.
games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not winning
Yeah,
anything.
you're right.
So
You know what I'm saying?
so now, maybe we got to start looking at the coach. We see the players going in and out. They interchanging receivers, running backs. Now you pair him with Derrick Henry, and you still getting the same results. So
Mm.
now if you still get the same results when you bring in another high caliber player, now we gotta look at, you know, I don't know, look at the coach. Like maybe something's going on there. Maybe they're not hearing them there. And in the AFC North, again, one of the toughest conference in the NFL. Each of these games matter. Especially in the AFC because with the emergence of Broncos, Chargers. We don't know what the Colts going to be down there in the South. We don't know what Jacksonville, going to be,
Mm-hmm.
or
Travis Hunter,
Houston.
right? Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, we don't know what the Jets going to look like, or the Patriots. Like you just don't know anymore in the AFC. So losing games like this, you up by 15 on the road. 5 minutes left in the game, and you just give it away. You couldn't stop anybody on defense. It's like your defense was non-existent at the end of the game, and then you have the incident with Lamar pushing the fan hitting the player in the head. Lamar pushing the fan. It's like a bunch of distraction, a bunch of other stuff happening when you're not winning. Now we gotta look at everything else when you're not winning. So I don't know what's going to happen with Baltimore. It definitely wasn't a good look for week one. Hopefully they bounce back. Week two show us something. Um, a game that I gotta talk about it. I gotta talk about Russell Wilson and that Giants Commanders game. And I gotta say, I think Russ is cooked. I think he's cooked. I think he's done. I think this may be the year that one, he doesn't finish the season out as the starter. It's crazy that your coach gotta, doing his media meetings, have to announce that you are going to be the starter for week two. It's crazy that he has to make that announcement and it's only the first week. Um, It was clear as day that Malik Neighbors was clearly upset on the sidelines. He's yelling at the coach. He's disengaged with the players. He's not getting the ball. Um, Russ is not seeing the defense. He's not seeing the field. He's scrambling into sacks. He's running into sacks. Um, he don't have the deep ball anymore. It was just not a good look for Russell Wilson in New York, and I don't think it's going to be any better with Jackson Dart. Also, um, you know, even though I started out by saying Russ, I think Russ is cooked, but we gotta look at that New York Giants offensive line. That offensive line is in shambles. It is terrible. The Commanders' pass rush was just beating that offensive line up. I definitely agree that Russ legs are going, and I did see your comment above. Yeah, I said, yeah, I definitely agree. I think this is his last year. I think this is the well, I think last season was the beginning of the Russell Wilson um merry-go-round where he's just going from team to team. And I think I think he's done. I think we'll see Jackson Dart by week 4, because
Week
they're
four.
already looking at him. The media is already
Yeah.
starting their nonsense by panning the camera on Jackson Dart every time Russ made a mistake, every sack. Um, I just think he's cooked. I think it's over. That
Yeah,
deep
that's
ball
that's
is
that's cold
done.
after 1 week.
Now it is cold, but I also thought he was cooked last year with Pittsburgh. I
All right,
saw it.
listen, check this out. Salute everybody in the chat. We in the building. We already know what it is down in the sports talk. We in the building. Myself, Yada Bear in the house. Um, it's fight week.
Yes, it is.
It's fight week, man.
We haven't had a
Um,
fight week in a while.
we haven't had a fight week in a minute.
Yeah.
Um, Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. It's about to go down on Saturday. Let me give my reasons why I think Terence Crawford is going to give Canelo Alvarez that work.
Go right ahead.
I got a list of fighters that said that they were bigger than Terence Crawford. They were physically. They were going to walk Terence Crawford down. They were going to expose Bud Crawford, all these bigger guys. And I'm going to run down the list. And as this list moves, you'll notice when Bud Crawford moves up in weight, boom, Yoriokas Gamboa, title fight. 50 Cent, you remember 50 Cent was like, yo, I believe Gamboa will stop Terence Crawford. And I quote, knock Gamboa out. Ray Beltran at 135. Terence Crawford beat him up. Ray Beltran was talking real greasy. Bigger guy, you're going to expose him, all that. Hank Lundy, the dude from Philadelphia, talked wild greasy. Terence Crawford got him out of here in the 5th round. All these guys are big.
Oh, uh-oh. Wait a minute. Looked like we lost him. But yes, he is talking about my Philly guy. He definitely knocked him out in the 5th round. Hopefully left come back as soon as he can finish his list. But definitely fight week. Terrence looked crazy because he really got big for this fight, man. I think this might be the biggest I see Terrence Crawford. He put on a lot of weight, a lot of muscle. Um, this fight will be on Netflix, so hopefully it doesn't buffer all crazy like how my Cody is buffering tonight. Um, I really expect a really good fight. I'm excited for this fight. I was surprised when they made it official super fast too. Like it was no playing around. They agreed to it fast, and that's what I like. I like to see two guys, at the top of their game, and like, yeah, let's fight. Like this is how boxing's supposed to be. I want to see the best fighting the best. Um, I can see, doesn't matter what the outcome of the fight is, that there probably would be another fight. Me personally, um, I am rooting for Terence. I you can't. Oh no, you can't see Crawford winning. I can see him winning. I can. I feel like Canelo. We seen some cracks in Canelo. When he fought. When they I always mess his name up. Bavilla. When he moved up to fight him, he was getting um he was getting the business done to him. Yes, he is coming up 2 weight classes. I know. He like I said, he looked crazy big. Like he looked crazy with all that weight on him. Um, but I think if a guy can be successful, I think it could be Terrence. I'm looking for a good fight. I want this to go. I want it to go deep. Um, I can see. It's probably gonna go decision. I think it's gonna go decision. I don't see Crawford like knocking him out. I would be extremely surprised if he gets a knockdown. You know, um, I would be very surprised. I feel like he may have to outpunch him. I can't see him knocking him out. I do agree with that. Like I don't see him knocking him out. I think it's going to be a crazy good fight. I, I I just hope he don't get caught. I don't want him to get caught and get out in like the fifth round, sixth round. I know, yeah, like I said, he is carrying a lot of weight. Like I never see Terrence this big. When they did the press conference, I'm excited to see the weigh in because I need to see how much he's weighing. Like when I saw him in that press conference, every time I see him in the press conference, I'm like, yo, he's huge. So I do agree. Crawford has never experienced being hit that hard by a guy who's been. Yeah, yeah. No, I trust. Listen, Anthony, I'm right there with you. You are speaking to the choir. This guy. This is a different animal that Crawford is fighting on Saturday. I don't think he has fought anybody, as experienced or dangerous as Canelo. Um, because when he fought Earl Spence, I didn't look at Earl Spence as a threat to him. I knew, Crawford was the better fighter and he was going to get Spence out of there. To me, Earl Spence hasn't been Earl Spence since the accident, all the drinking and then the car accident. Yeah, he hasn't been the same to me since then. So you know we'll definitely have to see this outcome of this fight. I just want it to be a good fight. Hopefully we can get 12 rounds. But I feel like depending on the outcome, no matter what the outcome is, I feel like we're gonna get a second fight. You know. Well, while we're waiting for Left to come back, we can talk a little baseball. As you can see, I am a Phillies Philadelphia Phillies fan. Right now, we are playing the Mets, who we all hate. You know, we're up 7-2. What is this? Top of the eighth. They got 2 outs and 2-1. The Mets are uh, up the bat. Um, it's coming down to the nitty gritty, of baseball season. Um, we are going down the last stretch. We're really, you know, fighting for position, playoff position. A couple teams fighting for that last wild card spot. Um, Phillies right now currently in second place in the NL. We're looking for a back to back NL East champs. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see what Anthony's saying. He says Crawford can only get a moral victory. His footwork will be nullified by the amount of weight he'll be carrying. Turkey is trying to set up Canelo with Hernandez. Ah, the accident ruined. Yeah, yes, I definitely. Yeah, I do. Yeah, the accident ruined. Definitely ruined Spence. He definitely did. So you think they trying to set up that fight with Canelo and Hamis? Uh, I mean, who else is there for Canelo to fight? You know, when we think about Alvarez, he fought everybody. You know, now he's fighting Crawford. So who else is there for him to fight? You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's you know what's next for him after that. So if that's what they're trying to do, that'll be interesting. Yeah, oh no, he's not back yet. Left, you back?
1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I got you.
All right, listen, man. You was talking about the Canelo
Mhm.
Alvarez scenario.
Yeah, go right ahead.
No, I'm listening to you.
Yes.
I'm
Uh
listening
huh.
to you.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. We definitely talking about that. Yeah, me and Anthony were talking about that, and we were just saying like after this fight, like what's next for Canelo? And Anthony just said that he's winding down his career. Yes, and he won't fight David Benavidez. Yes, I have been calling for this man to fight David. Like to me, that's the only match that's left for in his career. Is him to fight Benavidez. But for some reason, he just won't fight this man. I don't understand the issue. But finish your point about your Alvarez, and Crawford. Left, you back?
oh yeah, 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 yeah. I just wanted to finish my point and say, man, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a great fight. I think, like I said behind the scenes, I think it's gonna be one of two fights. They're gonna have a rematch. I think it's gonna be a compelling fight. I think Crawford, he's gotta start off from the jump because I think Canelo's gonna try to come at him. You know what I mean, and try to force the issue. Watch who's fighting off the back foot, right? Canelo
Yeah.
is going to try to neutralize Crawford's speed. I think Crawford is going to be that kind of like pot shot him. To me, the fight that I think is going to remind me of is Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler. Canelo being the guy that's going to come at you, Crawford being the guy that's going to have to use his speed and his quickness and his smarts, and he's going to get tagged because he's got tagged in a few fights. He's got tagged, right? So all he's got
Mm-hmm.
to do is once he hits Canelo hits him that first time, and if he can withstand that, shake that off, and do what he got to do and handle his business, I think it's going to be an easy night for Terence Crawford.
Okay.
Yes,
Listen.
politics has definitely ruined boxing.
Yeah.
Politics has definitely
Boxing
ruined
is
boxing.
more corrupt than soccer to me. You know.
Is boxing more corrupt than the NFL?
Yes. Yes. Because it's all about money. And what have we said before about boxing? Everybody has a belt. Everybody's a champion. There's so many promotions. People don't want to fight each other because they fight for different promotions. Um, Nobody wants to lose their everyone want to be undefeated, which is crazy wild to me because some of the most decorated boxers, Hall of Fame boxers, all time great boxers has lost. Like So you can still be great and have lost a match or two. You know, there's nothing wrong with losing. But I think that's one of the reasons why boxing is terrible and it's one of the most corrupt sports out there.
Yeah, boxing has been corrupt since Leon Spinks and Muhammad Ali fought the first time, and that's another story for another day. And I always believed that that fight was fixed, always, because that was the start of the alphabet era. That was the
Yeah.
start of it, but we'll talk about that another time. Down in sports, we in the building. We got Browski holding down the fort in the chat room and all that. Salute to everybody that's in the chat room. We see y'all. We salute y'all and all that good stuff. It's fight week. Um, you got anything interesting you want to talk about before we get ready to get up out of here? Browski's favorite part of the show, but I wanted to talk about something else before we got up out of here,
Go
though. What
ahead. Go
was
ahead.
the WNBA?
Yes.
What the hell is going on? Why is this? To me, it's like all of a sudden the WNBA has kind of got out of control. And what I mean by that is that instead of the good vibes that we were feeling with the expansions and the Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reese's, and we're getting all this nonsense and pettiness now. I mean, it started a couple years ago, right? It even started when you had Brittany Griner getting caught overseas doing what she did. Then you had the domestic violence stuff going on. Then you got the other
Hmm.
team being sold. Then you got this team sniping at this person because they got their team is playing 38 of their 40 games on national TV. Then you got this chick over here that's like, oh well, my teammates stink, and if that I don't play with them and they don't play with me, we're not gonna win. Then you got everybody running off at the yap. Like this league has been around 100 years, which it has not. And really, it hasn't really got its footing, if you ask me. I'm not coming
Hmm.
down on the WNBA, but we should be talking about way much more positive stuff within the WNBA. And that's just my opinion. I mean, again, on the outside looking in as a WNBA supporter, right? They're talking about a whole bunch of stuff that's not even necessary, but it happens because you get away from talking about the game on the court to everything that happens off the court. You talk about what's going on in
Hmm.
Vegas. And you talk about they had their situation going on. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Then you
Yeah.
got the CBA that they get ready to have to deal with.
Yeah.
So I'm like, come on, man, what are we doing? Like, I just feel like the WNBA needs to check its DOS effects and Ice Cube, right? You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. And that's my thoughts on that. Where you at with it, Kimmy?
It's a PR nightmare.
Mm,
That's what I think of it. They need to fire their PR team. It's it's terrible. Like you said, we're talking about everything but the game.
right.
We're not talking about the fact that the Atlanta Dream is 29-14. You know,
Or the Valkyries clinched the playoff spot.
second spot. You know, second place in the league. Or like you said, the Golden State Valkyrie first year in the league expansion team, number 6 seed, clinching a playoff spot. You know, we're not talking about how the Las Vegas Aces fought their way back up to the top, you know,
Right,
of the
right.
league,
They did
with
that.
clinching
They did
that
that
number
on some
three
on a
spot.
sneak tip.
Yeah,
That's
on
right.
that on that winning streak. You know, we're also not talking about the fact that Caitlin Clark has also will be missing the remainder of this season from a groin injury. You know, so Indiana has been battling back and forth with the Seattle Storm for that 7th and 8th seed spot. Right now, they are holding on to the 7th seed, and Seattle is holding on to the 8th seed. You know, we're not talking about how the Minnesota Lynx are 33-9. You know, they haven't they're the only team in the league without a double digit loss. You know, that's wild. Or we're not talking about how Angel Reese, you know, suspended, talking crazy about the team. But is she really talking crazy? Or is she just telling the truth? And they don't want to hear it, so they're making her look like the villain once again. You know, um, I'm hoping she gets traded.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I think they should trade her.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
they
I
should.
cut your losses. I think they should trade
You
Angel Reese.
you have to.
Um,
It's not working. It's not working. That twin tower thing that they
Never
tried to
worked out.
do
It never got a
didn't work
chance.
out. It exactly never had a chance. You had a coach in Teaspoon there, Hall of Famer. Players respected her. You know, you wasn't winning. You fired her.
Right,
Look what happened this year. You're still not winning.
right.
You want to fire this coach? You want to fire this coach too? So I feel like they should trade Angel Reese. Trying to get some value out of her while her stock is still high. Um, they got a couple games left of the season. Playoffs about to start very soon. Um, so I just feel like this season has been a bunch of nonsense.
Did you buy a pair of her sneakers?
Absolutely not.
Browski!
Absolutely not. Them Jones,
Moving
them
right
Jones,
along.
them Jones, terrible. Them Jones, terrible. But I got to say something about Reeboks. I know, and to me, they never really made a really stylish looking basketball sneaker. To me, like when I think about all of the Reeboks, maybe a hand, like maybe like two or three
Hmm.
that was alright Jones, but never a really good basketball shoe. And when she signed with Reebok, I was like, mm, mm, I
Wasn't that a
don't
Shaq
know.
thing? Wasn't that a Shaq thing?
I listen. It could. I don't care if it's a Shaq thing. It could have been an AI thing. Only thing I know is them things that she boating around on her feet are not it. Them things is not.
That it, son.
It is not it, son. Not it.
250 pairs. Reebok is
that
gonna listen, and you hate to hear that. You know what I mean? You hate to hear that, man. I feel like Angel Reese kind of put herself in a position where, um, damn if you do and you're damned if you don't. Kind of
hmm
like more or less Clarissa Shields, more or less, kind of sort of. I'm the best. You can't do nothing to me. This and that and the third. But you're playing a team game. Clarissa Shields is
exactly.
playing a solo sport, right? So
Yeah.
again, with Angel Reese saying, especially when she said, "Oh man, that put the nail in the coffin." I don't see how she can
Yeah.
play her rest in her career in Chicago.
But again, is she not saying the truth? Is she not saying what we're saying? Is she not saying what she's saying? Is she's not putting the the ownership of their bad play or their bad team back on the owners and the GM? Because this is the team that you assembled.
That's right.
You're not getting free agents. You're not drafting properly. You're not bringing in the talent to Chicago. So you look around, you see a team like the Golden State Valkyrie, where you hear an expansion team, you're like, oh, okay, we'll give them a year or two. Well, it's year one, and they're already in the playoffs, and not just sneaking into the playoffs like the Indiana Fever. They're confidently sitting, you know, in the middle of the pack as a threat, as a real threat to the reigning defending New York Liberty. They are a true threat to. They can spoil someone's playoff run. Minnesota Lynx looking at you. looking at the Atlanta Dream, and also looking at the Las Vegas Aces, because we have seen the up and down season that they have this year. And yeah, they definitely fought back quietly, like you said, went on like 11, 12 game winning streak. And now, they're back in their rightful place, top three, of the league. So we'll see how that's going to play out. But Trader, I need her in a different jersey next year. She gotta go.
Yep, absolutely. Um, looking at these Browski's Philadelphia Phillies right now. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's got
we're
the head
whipping
nod,
on
the
these
head
Mets.
bob going on. It's a lovely thing when you're up 9-2, right?
It's lovely, and it's
Um,
lovely when it's against the Mets.
there you go. Um, where you at with your Phillies now? It's 3 weeks left to go in the season. Should you start looking at getting ready for the playoffs and who you get? Well, you got to have a bye,
Yeah,
so you're not going to worry about it.
yeah. What I'm looking for is my guys being healthy and staying healthy. Right now, Trey Turner is out. He on a 10-day IL with a hamstring. Um, Alec Baum is on the IL right now. So 10-day IL. So I'm just looking forward to our guys getting healthy and staying healthy. We should expect Trey Turner and Alec Baum back for the beginning of the postseason. So, thank goodness that we got that first round bye. We are 8 games up on the Mets, about to be 9 games after we beat them. Looking forward to another back to back NL East championship. It's been a while since we were able to say that. Last year we finally won the division, and then to come back this year to win it again. With all of the improvements that the Mets made, and Ronald Acuna Jr. back. The Braves should be back where they supposed to be at. But look who's on top of the division.
This.
Look who's here. It's your good old reliable Phillies making a run for
Good
the
old
second.
reliable Phillies. All
Good
right.
old reliable. Um, so I'm just looking forward to our playoff run. Looking forward to my guys coming back healthy, and hopefully we maintain this lead. It's what, 2 weeks left in the season? A week?
There's about 3 weeks left.
About two
Get
weeks
to the end
left.
of the month. The end of the month. Yeah.
Yep, about
About
two
three
weeks
weeks.
left in the season. Like I said, we got a 8 game lead on the Mets. We have what, four 4 game lead against the Dodgers for their second spot. The Dodgers are need to be focused on the Padres, because Padres is 1 game back. You know, so
Excuse me.
again, at the beginning of the season, what were we talking about? Oh, how many games is the Dodgers going to win?
Right.
The Dodgers
Right.
are the top of the NL. That they the team
They're
that
gonna win
most likely to
200
come out of
games.
the
Right.
NL. Yeah, they're gonna win every game. Well, look at them. They may not even win their division. They are fighting with the Padres,
Yep. Fighting
and
with daddies. Yep.
yeah, and they have been struggling, losing a couple games, not looking really buttoned up. Um then they got what, two no hitters broken up on
Yeah.
them. So
Crazy.
it's it's really interesting for the Dodgers. So all those people who was afraid of the Dodgers, don't fear. They are just men playing a game, and they are they can lose, and they have been losing, and we're just focusing on us right now. But I know that there's a crazy battle going on in the AL East. Your
Man,
with
listen,
your
bro.
Yankees and your Blue Jays going back and forth. Like, what's going on there?
I think um, it's a mean to an end. You know, we play well against teams that um, we're supposed to beat, but teams that give us a challenge. You know, even though we went to Toronto, we played well. We're losing right now against Detroit. We're gonna have to see them in the postseason. And again, I feel like we're gonna go as far as our lineup takes us. You know, um, not worried about it. We make the playoffs. It's fine. You know what I mean? Um, it's another season, but we'll see what happens. I don't want to get into a 3 game series with somebody and have to play a game three. You know what I'm saying? I feel like right now we just want to kind of play the string out and see how it plays. Because again, this is the tough stretch of the season right here. We play all the guys, all the teams that we're going to see in the postseason. We're playing right now in this stretch, right?
Yep.
So yeah, this is going to show you who we are. You know what I mean? Either we about that life or we not. So tonight it looked like we not about that life. So again, we got we got 3 weeks to get it together and straighten it out. But when you talk about the American League, I want to talk about the MVP for a second. The American League. There should be no way that Aaron Judge should come up against Cal Raleigh in the MVP. How many MVPs does Aaron Judge need? When you gonna get the MVP? When you gonna get the MVP of the World Series? How about that? You want an MVP?
he's,
Get that.
he's the Lamar Jackson
Right.
of baseball.
So you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like I'm really indifferent because October is not supposed to be a privilege for the Yankees. It's supposed to be a right. It's a privilege for everybody else. But
Yeah.
I feel like if we get there, we're supposed to go all the way. It's World Series or bust, you know. And some people, Yankee fans included, seem to forget that we was in Game 5 of the World Series last year.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Here you go.
Anything, anything less than the World Series is a bad season. And I'm already looking at Aaron Boone not being here. Maybe Brian
Mm,
Cashman too. Because y'all just ran through too much of them Steinbrenner's money not to have a World Series championship since 2009.
true.
So for me, I feel like it's whatever's clever, play your way to respectability. You can't be beating up on the nondescript teams, and then when you play the Tigers, you're losing 11-2. You
Yeah.
can't be doing that. That makes no sense, right? So that's where I'm at with the Yankees. And we'll get caught up with that next week. We got about a good 7, 8 minutes left. This is Browski's favorite part of the show, where we get down on what we gonna get down on. What we getting down on, Browski, tonight?
Um, I'm gonna get down on. You know what? I don't really have really nothing to get down on for real, for real.
Uh
I
oh.
mean, um, all right, all right. I can get down on something. Let's get down on college football rankings. You know, because every I feel like every week I'm going to be battling with these guys and the way they rank these teams. You know, the fact that they have Texas at 7, it's wild to me.
It speaks volumes, don't it?
It's so crazy. And not only have Texas at 7, but to also have Clemson at 12 with Oklahoma, who just beat Michigan in 13. Like how is that possible? You know, Clemson came
They
out.
giving themselves room for error.
Yeah, Clemson came out Didn't have a good showing against LSU. You know, after all the hype,
Mm-hmm.
Texas came out, looked terrible against Ohio State, but these guys are still in the top 12. When you have Oklahoma, who came out and beat Michigan, you know, in a really good game at 13. Like, the politics in sports is ridiculous and is ruining sports. That's what my get down is about. Politics and sports ruining sports. We just talk about politics in boxing, politics, and now,
Basketball.
basketball,
Oh, Carmelo Anthony.
NFL,
Go ahead.
and now, NCAA, which has now became extremely corrupt. So that's what I'm getting down on, politics and sports. But you go right ahead because yes, definitely, NBA Hall of Fame class, your guy, the ultimate New York guy, Carmelo Anthony, getting this jacket. Dwight Howard getting this jacket. So go right ahead, left. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to shout out and put some respect on Carmelo Anthony's name. I'm not really, really caring about, him making the statement about Puerto Rico.
People
That's
was mad
that's his
about that.
that's where his blood's from. So I'm not mad at that. But my question would be, why did you play for the United States team?
Absolutely. And that was also my question too. When he started shouting out Puerto Rico, I said, well, you didn't have the Puerto Rican flag across you. You had that United States flag across you. Did you play for the USA because you know that if you play for Puerto Rico, you will never win Olympic gold? Is that what it was?
I mean that would have been, that's my only thing. Like, I'm not mad at you for shouting out your homeland and things of that nature, but we could have
I
had
feel
this
like his mom
conversation
was.
already. We know that we know that Carmelo Anthony takes care of his people back in Puerto Rico, and nobody's mad at that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I think being the all-time Olympic scorer, hailing from the country of Puerto Rico, would have, did a lot for that, for that country's pride, for you as a Puerto Rican and all that. You know what I mean? So, not nothing bad about it. It's just that it's funny that, you know um, you had all the chances in the world to say, hey, I'm gonna represent for my pops and
Yeah.
play for Puerto Rico, and this conversation would have been moot. It's not like you wouldn't have been a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I just wanted to get down on that a little bit. Down in Sports Talk, we in the building, man. Salute to the homie Yowdy Bear, aka High Ceilings, aka Rain, Sleet, Snow, Hail, everything else got to pale in comparison. Down in Sports, we in the building. Salute to Browski's Philadelphia Phillies. They beat the New York Mets, right? What else is new, right? We'll get at y'all next week. Results of the Crawford Canelo fight. I got Canelo putting some work in on hitting that knee, and Crawford getting a knockdown. I think Crawford's gonna get a knockdown.
Oh, okay.
I
Y'all
think
heard it.
Crawford's gonna,
Y'all heard it here. They said Crawford might get knocked down. I don't
Crawford
know
gonna get
about
it.
that.
Crawford gonna knock. Listen, people didn't think Errol Spence was gonna get knocked down either.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
And
But that's neither here nor there. Get your picks in this week. You already know the vibes. Down in Sports on Facebook. You already know. Browski, Yada Bears in the building. I'm about to be out. Y'all season about to be out. We'll get at y'all Tuesday. Saturday is the fight. We coming on Saturday?
um, I'll let you know. I gotta
Okay.
see. I don't know if I'm working on Sunday. I might not
Okay.
be.
Okay. All right. So we out, y'all. We'll talk to y'all next week. Browski, be good.